if you're a small business owner, are there some subtle issues on your website that are hurting your business? Hi, I'm Appy at iCode Happy. I'm a website advisor and designer. The more I build websites, the more I want to help small business owners like you use your website to its highest potential to help your business. So today we're going to talk about 3 red flags that I see fairly often on websites that could be hurting your business and how to fix them. So we've been talking about how your website works for you. And there's some obvious issues that can get in the way of that. Things like slow loading times or broken links that are pretty obvious. But what about the things that are a little bit more subtle? Those things can hurt your business too. And maybe it's hard to even realize that they're present on your website. So we're going to talk about these red flags today. And we're going to talk about how to spot them on your website and what to do about them. So let's dive in. I see a lot of websites where the visitor path and the focus of the website isn't clear. Let me give you an example. What if you have a business, like a client of mine, where the best way for you to help someone is with a paid consultation? How do you get your visitor to book a paid consultation with you? Well, your process is that there needs to be a free intro call first to make sure you're on the same page and that you can work well together. And that has to happen before they can book a paid call. So your call to action or your call to value is not a direct link to booking a paid call with you. The first step in the process, and this is what you want your website visitor to do, is to book a free intro call with you. Your messaging is that the help is in the paid call, the paid consult. And the first step to that is the free intro call. It's not always easy to figure out, what do I want my visitor to do that's a clear next step in the process to working with me? If you have an online store, maybe that's an easier process because it's here, grab shoes, shirts, templates, whatever you're selling. But what if your process is multi-steps? Knowing that can help you guide your users through that process on your website. Think about the smaller steps too, because, and I know that common website wisdom is 1 CTA per page. I get it. But I really like the way some people are choosing to add a secondary CTA and make it very clear what the process is. If you're not ready to take this next step, to make this level of commitment, then here's a smaller step that you can take. Sign up for the newsletter so you can stay in touch. Grab a free PDF that'll put you on the newsletter so you can stay in touch. And the PDF or the newsletter or both, they include links to the next step. That's the bigger commitment, so that when people are ready, they're still in your world, they're still in contact, but they can take that next step when they're ready. And they're aware, okay, I'm taking a smaller step. When I'm ready to move forward, to buy the thing, to book the paid consult, then this is the process to get there. And it's still clear. It's just a little bit of a different path. So clarity isn't necessarily cutting options. Clarity is making really clear how the pieces fit together and what the process is. And that doesn't mean funnel, force people. That means welcome them into your world, give them the options that are the most helpful for them. And if it's they stay on your free newsletter forever, great. That's what they need from you. But the clearer you can be on what you offer and how you offer it, what the process is, and the clearer and simpler you can make that on your website for somebody who is continuing to take further steps into working with you and engaging with you, the better. The second red flag on your website is visual issues. And I don't just mean something's obviously wrong. like maybe there's a sale up that's gone 6 months ago. But sometimes there are subtle visual issues that cause a lack of trust, that cause distraction from your message, that contribute to a lack of clarity in those processes we were talking about. You crafted this great message, your process, you want it to be really clear. So you crafted this great message. It's clear, it's simple, and nobody can read it because the font is tiny or it's light gray text on a white background. Making sure that whatever visual elements, colors, fonts that are hard to read, graphics that distract from the message rather than amplifying it, animation, movement on the screen that's distracting or otherwise hampers your message, elements that are out of proportion, your giant logo that looks awesome but pushes your message down so people can't start seeing your message for 2 or 3 screens on their phone. Spacing, cluttered, giant blocks of text, anything like that, that is I call it a twang. When I really focus on a website and I just really look at each element and I zoom out and look at the whole and consider all the elements and how they fit together, anything that twangs for me, that's something that I need to pay attention to. Anything that distracts me from that message and from that process, any of the visuals that make it less clear what the process is and how to go to that next step. So how do you fix these visual issues? The first is to be aware of them. So really taking a look at your website as if you've never been there before, or have a friend look, and really focusing on how you move through your website, how you move through that journey, and really pay attention to anything that gets in the way of getting your visitor to the help that they need. The last red flag is technical disconnect. Maybe it's not as obvious as your store's broken and you can't check out, or a contact form doesn't work. Maybe it's subtler than that. I had someone ask me to resize some photos. They said, these photos aren't working on the tablet version of this website, and the photos need resized. I took a look, and the entire website needed redesigned because for that particular platform, there are guidelines for the tablet version of the site. And if you don't keep your website elements within those visual guides, then everything goes off the screen and the website becomes almost unusable in tablet mode. So making sure that your website works, especially for mobile. Tablet, yes, that's a part of it, but so many people use websites on their phones. Making sure that you don't have elements that are off the screen or unreadable, so small when they get resized to the mobile version that they're not readable. So again, making sure that if you go back to the first step and the process, that all the elements are contributing and helping people to take that next step, whether they're on desktop or whether they are on mobile, and making sure there's nothing that's going to interfere with that process. What's the fix for that? Test on as many devices as you can. Try to test your website on at least desktop and phone, and if possible, tablet, and then other sizes of screens as you can. And repeat that process of pretending like you were never there and looking at the process that you're asking your visitor to go through to get to that next step. Because it's not just helping you, it's not just a conversion for you and money in your pocket, but that's what's going to help them. That's going to help them get what they need. That's what's going to help them to get what they are looking for in working with you or in purchasing from you. So really making sure that there aren't hidden technical issues disconnects where you're not getting the contact form, or another true story where somebody ordered something and it's supposed to be delivered automatically by email and they don't come, and the person has to ask, hey, am I going to get my item? It's so easy for automations, connections that we make these days with these so handy dandy tools, and then something happens and there's a disconnect that we didn't realize. So the answer, as usual, is to test and try things and just make sure that things are working on your website. It's a lot of effort to keep up with a website, to do the checking and the testing and the maintenance and the updates. And because I wanted to help with that, I built something that would help break that process into bite-sized pieces. I built something I call your Website Buddy. It's a 12-month subscription. Every month you get bite-sized pieces of this process of updating your website, so that by the time you've been through the entire year, you've looked at all the pieces of your website and had the opportunity to dive deep into those, look for some of these red flags that we've been talking about, and do the review and the updates to make sure that your website is really working well for you. For example, one of the pieces of your Website Buddy is an onboarding email. And one task in the onboarding email is to look at your website, not the whole thing, but the first impression, the very first screen of your website. And that's the whole task, is to look at that screen by itself, just concentrate on it and look for anything that twangs, anything that detracts from your message, anything that detracts from what you want the first impression of your website and your business to be. Instead of being overwhelmed and trying to fix everything at once, you can have manageable monthly tasks that will walk you through it piece by piece, so that it can help you get your website to where it is working better for your business. So we've talked about red flags today. We've talked about the purpose and the journey of your website and being really clear. And we've talked about the visual impacts that various elements might have and how to look for those. And finally, we talked about the tech disconnect that can happen, that can also interfere with users taking that journey and taking the next step with you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.